guys, I'm Sach Fernando, back again from Melbourne One TV with our special segment, Talk with Melbourne One. And today I have 6 candidates again to talk about the upcoming election, why they're participating, and give their idea or give why they're contesting in this year's election, and give a bit of an understanding to the community on what their views are and what they're trying to achieve. So let me start by introducing them to you. First, we have Maria Go, who's contesting for Monash City Council. And then I have Solange Ardiles for City of Greater Dandenong. Then I have Kapil Thakkar for Wyndham City Council. I have Dalibor Saula for City of Greater Dandenong. Then I have Tully Smith for Whyndham City Council. And finally, I have Jasmine Hill again for Whyndham City Council. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Thanks so much for having us.
Excellent.
Thank you for giving your precious time. I know you're quite busy with the election coming quite close. Thank you very much again for giving your time for this special segment. So I'll give you a bit of an overview of what we're trying to achieve with this segment. We're giving straightforward 3 rounds. In each round, I'll be giving you the same question, so everyone will be answering the same question. And then I'll give it some time, most likely a minute or so, to answer that question. And in the third round, in the final question, you can promote yourself. You can tell which ward you're contesting for, so the audience knows if they want to search you up or look you up. You're more than welcome to give your Facebook details as well if the viewers want to have a look as well. So I'll start with Maria, with you. So the first question is, why did you decide to go for this council election? Was there any particular reason? Was it always a passion of yours, or anything that people don't know? Can you please lay that out for us, please?
Sure, I will. The very short answer is because I feel that being a counsellor would allow me to help more people. It's always been my passion to help people and to serve people. I've had a variety of jobs, and some of them I've been in 7 years in publishing, 7 years in mainly music, 3 years as a small business operator, and 8 years as a pastor. And I've also been very active in my kids' schools and kindergartens in their PFAs. And, in all that time, I found that the most rewarding thing for me has been when I've been helping people in making people's lives better, and, and really being a blessing to people. And that has been the thing that has prompted me in this instance to put myself forward as a candidate, because that's what I want to do. I want to serve people and to have that opportunity. And also because I'm at this stage of life where I'm not seeking to be working full time. And I thought, I've got the time and now I've got the opportunity. So what better thing to do, than to be able to run this race? We're in a democracy, and we can do that. And so that's why I'm running and standing as a counsellor.
Okay, thank you very much, Maria. Now I'd like to turn to Solange. What about you? Why is serving in the council so important?
Thank you, and thanks for having me tonight. Look, I think it starts with, you see a problem and you want to solve it. So it was one of those things where I'm also in a stage of my life where I've got a lot of skills to give back, and I've been very fortunate to have the upbringing that I've had. I actually grew up in this area as well. I've got a background in social sciences and in business, and the particular area that I'm contesting needs a lot of help. And it's an area that had a lot of hardship pre-COVID. So it's one of those things where you see a problem and you ask yourself, if not now, when? If not me, who? So I put my hand up, and I think I've got the right intentions to really help and work with the community to create solutions together. I'm a person that works in disaster recovery, so I really understand the need to collaborate with the community and really work together to build solutions rather than having too much imposed on them and people not understanding what's available to them. So one of the biggest criteria of my platform is really to educate and bring people on the journey with me. So that's why I'm contesting the seat. I thought, what better time now than ever when you're able to, you know, run for a campaign online, leveraging off social media. Might as well do that and see, you know, what communication you can get with the community. I mean, I miss having interaction. I miss having meetings with people in person, but you need to get creative. You need to get creative and seize the opportunities that are available. So that's what I've done.
Okay, thank you very much, Solange. What about you, Kapil? Was there any particular reason, or you've always had a passion towards politics?
Firstly, thank you for having me on this platform, and great to see so much experience in the room as well. With me, I'm born in a political family, and my family's always values were to give back to community, and this is what I have inherited from my family. And in India as well, my home country, I have been active in a lot of community activities as well as a lot of political work. When I migrated to Australia, I brought that values along with me to give back to the community. And I've been actively engaged in community through many roles. Like I'm an ambassador with AFL Cricket Australia. I do volunteer with Werribee Mercy Hospital on the Consumer Advisory Board, as well as I'm a member of a Regional Advisory Council of Victoria Multicultural Commission. I do have my own not-for-profit organization, Stay Well. And job of Stay Well is to promote health living and health awareness. So these are few things which I am passionate about: health, sports, and empowerment. And this is where I feel I want to come in council and bring my skills along. And why council is because I am a community person, and I feel council is a place where you directly interact with community, engage with community, and this is an opportunity to bring community together and solve resolve issues and problems of a resident. So I think this is a reason I look forward to this role.
I see. Thank you very much, Kapil. What about you, Dalibor? Is it always been community that you wanted to help, or is there any other reason for it?
Look, that's an excellent question, really. For me, I've actually tried to go for the position when I was about 22. And then I think I was about 26, and then I gave it about 8 years of rest. Obviously, I had family in between that, and I'm back at it again. So one of the things that really drew me to this is, well, actually a couple of things. One is we've seemed to have lost that drive to be, you know, sort of the second city. And obviously I'm running for Dandenong, very similar to, well, exactly the same as Solange. And I like everything that Solange said, because it really aligns with, you know, sort of the way that I think as well. And the area that we represent has been quite neglected even before COVID. So now that, you know, we've gone through this and everyone's done it really tough, but I think that area has done it even tougher than almost anyone else has. And there's basically a need for people that have lived in the area, for people that have gone through some hardships before, that understand, you know, sort of how some of these people are actually feeling. And not just that, I mean, we need someone that has a vision for the area, and that vision is really to become that second city. Dandenong has always been seen, sort of, at least on paper, seen as a second city, but we've never actually really sort of reached there. And it's just changing that, you know, the way that people perceive us, you know, sort of, or not us, but us as a city. You know, when you tell someone that you're from Dandenong, they have that different feel than perhaps if you say that you're from Brighton or some other area. There's a lot of work to be done there. And look, that's what I represent. I represent a vision. I have a vision for this city, and I know that a lot of people that have contacted me have a very similar vision. And I think, you know, if we have enough people on the council with that vision, with the vision that, you know, we want to drive more people here, we want to drive, you know, more business, we want to get everyone to some basic level where everyone can be happy. You can take your children outside without, feeling safe. At the moment, there's only 40% of people that feel safe at night in Dandenong, and that's not good at all. I mean, that's something that we need to really, really change. I mean, I could really sit here for the whole night and say all the things that I stand for, but in a nutshell, that's, it's really having that vision of where we want to be, having a really hard look of where we are at the moment, and really the only thing, you don't need to be a brain surgeon to know this. It's just a bunch of work that needs to happen in between, your goal where you want to be and having a realistic look where you are at the moment.
Fair enough. Yeah, thank you very much, Dalibor. So I'd like to turn to Tully now. Tully Smith, what about you? You have a similar view, or you have a different view?
Yeah, look, I've always been involved in community. I joined the CFA when I was 13 years old, and I think that was sort of my real first official community involvement. My community work, I sit on various boards and charities. I've been the founding director of a couple of charities. My work's, I've been recognised with a Prime Minister's Award for voluntary service to the community. So it's always been something that's been important to me. But I think I'm fortunate enough to live in one of the greatest areas in Victoria, in Wyndham. And, Sarah and I chose to make Whyndham our home to start our family and start our journey in life. And it's been through doing that's actually made me want to put my hand up for cancel. So I'm not just going to sit here and say it's because I'm involved in community or a whole range of things. It's actually because of the change that we need to see in Wyndham. I live in the fastest growing area in all of Victoria. We're growing at about 4 prep classes a month in Wyndham. And I truly don't believe that we are seeing the infrastructure required to support our growth. We need to get a much better deal for Wyndham. And what actually made me, the final straw for me to put my hand up was seeing a dreadful decision by VCAT that overruled local planning rules, and a site that was put away for a school is now earmarked for 227 townhouses, and that's just unacceptable in the fastest growing area of Victoria. I think for too long Wyndham Council hasn't been strong enough, and I've spent my entire career in corporate affairs and government relations. I spend every day of my working career negotiating with state and federal governments and local councils to get a better deal. I think I've got the skills to deliver that for Wyndham. And that's why I'm running for council. I truly want to keep our area the very best place to live, work and raise a family. And that's why I put my hand up for council.
Thank you very much, Tully. So finally to you, Jasmine. So to conclude round one, what about you? Why is there any particular reason you decided to contest in this year's Victorian Council elections?
Thank you, Sach. I'm always... since I moved to this area in Wyndham, in Point Cook, I've always involved in the community. So I love the community, and that's where I live. That's my neighbors. So I have been volunteering since day one when I came here, actually. So I've been involved in various different type of community works, from editing newspaper editors all the way, leading community groups, helping communities to set up the community groups, encouraging more community groups like the one in Hobson's Bay, the thousands, and we only have not so many yet. And then also, I'm also heavily involved in the local city council as a portfolio committee members. Currently, which is cultural diversity portfolio. I work with various staff, council staff, and also councillors. And I really see the need of, the need in the community. And I saw the need there, and I feel like I actually can bridge the gaps between the council and also local community. And I can be the voice of the community. And so, with my technical background myself, very strong, and I with the engineering background, I feel like it actually adds to the different flavors in the council, in the councillorship, if I get elected. And I felt like I can contribute to a very different perspective from with my experience and backgrounds, and I actually can make a good team together. And also, I think this time I am ready. And people have been asking me, are you running? I said, yes, I am running for you guys. And I am willing to make a change because I am ready. I feel like it's been 8 years I live here now. This is the time, and I'm stepping up, and I want to make a change. And I have good reputation, and not to boast, a good reputation in community among my friends and school. I'm a school teacher. And also I'm a reliable person. Sorry not to sell myself too much, but I think they have a lot of 360,000 or 500,000 to invest. I think people will be actually feeling safe to put it in my hand and say that you and your mates go work on this money and make our city a better city. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, Jasmine. So guys, that concludes round 1 question. So I'd like to move on to the round 2, the second question. So this question goes to all of you. This is a bit of a hypothetical, a creative question that we came up with. So imagine a scenario, hypothetically, you are given a $10 million grant and you can spend it any way you like, but I'd like to focus on one project. Now, I know you can spend 10 million in 10 different ways, but let's focus on one particular project that you feel most connected with or that aligns with your policies. And can you elaborate on that, what you would do, that single project with that $10 million? And can you tell why you would do that? So I'd like to start with Maria. What about you? What do you think you would do with it?
Well, $10 million for one single project.
Mm-hmm.
I was tossing up. I actually had 2 in mind, but okay, you're making me choose. I'll just have one.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, what I have noticed is that over the years, the council has actually invested quite a fair bit into our playgrounds and play spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that the play spaces are very, very important places that are free to the community and which allows the whole community together. It's good for the families, good for making friends and all that. But they have focused very much on the younger children. And what I have noticed is that they have actually left out the teenagers and even the young adults. And what I have noticed that during this COVID period is that there's near where I live, there's this huge netball court, which has a nice flat space, which is well graded. And what I have noticed over this COVID restriction period where there hasn't been school is that lots of people, not just young kids riding their bicycles, but also teenagers and adults, they've come out with their skateboards, their rollerblades, you name it. They're out there whizzing around on these play spaces. And that really got me thinking that we need more of those kinds of places,
Mm-hmm.
that adults and teenagers can come out and enjoy themselves and work off some steam. And it's free for people. Yes, we can build our recreation centers and all that, but they're costly and you have to pay a fee to get in. But these flat, well-graded surfaces, you're just going to bring out all these people. It's free for young and old and the teenagers. And another thing that I've noticed, which quite a few people have spoken to me about, are like there's been some interest among teenagers with the dirt bike riding. And they have actually gotten together to build humps, like really, really amazing creation where they've got these dirt bike humps. So I don't think that the places that they've created them are actually authorized. And some of them have been mowed down and flattened back by the council. But the parents are actually asking, can we have something like that in our ward where it's official, it's sanctioned, and where our kids and us, this was a grown up and he has an 18-year-old. And he said to me that this is an activity that we connect with. It's our parent and son, relationship is good for us because without this, we don't have anything else that we're connecting with. And so if I had $10 million, that's how I would spend it. I would create more such play spaces for teenagers, for adults, and even just throw in a few, basketball hoops and, those half space basketball hoops. And also some practice balls for tennis, because that's what I'm noticing. All these free activities, that it's the simple things in life that you can enjoy with your kids, whether they're old or, as a young adult as well. So yeah, that would be my dream.
Thank you very much, Maria. Yes, certainly. What about you, Solange? What would you do with 10 million? Now, remember, like I said, we want to look at one project. Now, this can be a construction project or a mental health scenario or anything you wish. We just want to know what your view is and how you would approach such a scenario.
Thank you. Look, I did my research in terms of the budget in the city of Greater Dandenong at the moment, and a lot of the infrastructure's already started. Like, they've done a lot of projects. The council's done a really good job to start up a lot of those new progressive things that we needed for the area, for our growth as well. So I actually want to focus on a COVID relief program that's council based. And it does have a lot of elements to it. So it's supporting individuals, it's supporting community groups, it's supporting sporting clubs and businesses. And it's about getting everyone ready for the post-COVID world. And that's whether it's implementing safety measures, whether it's introducing new programs to get people reconnected to each other, and like things like council services like maternal health, mothers groups, what will that look like in a post-COVID world? So one of the ideas that I had was to actually start a, I forgot what I called them, the COVID response support officers. So what these people would do would actually go out and teach businesses, community groups and sporting groups how to get ready about like the safety measures that are needed, the PPE and the programs that they could deliver to reinvigorate the community again and get them ready for what's coming up next. Because realistically, it looks like we're going to have to get used to having this around. So it's about adjusting the way we operate to be ready for what's coming up next. One of the other things, and it aligns back to the hardship that's in the area, is about upskilling and creating more support in the financial element in terms of getting people in hardship back on their feet. So there is a lot of jobs needs here in Dandenong. And as Dalibor said, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to really establish it as the second city. So what that would mean would be to create more jobs in the area and get people upskilled for the jobs that are available in this immediate area. I think that it's definitely an opportunity to decentralise from having to go into the Melbourne CBD, because we've got our own CBD here. So this plan would be about invigorating that. And I think 10 million, looking at the budget that we've got, 10 million would actually cover all of that. So yeah, that's my plan for that grant.
Thank you very much, Solange. Now, what about you, Kapil? You have a different view, something similar. How do you approach, if hypothetically speaking, if you get something like that, $10 million?
Surely, see, definitely, that's a good amount of money. And I have heard from Maria and I've heard from Solange as well that a lot of things can be done with this money. Now, I have two other candidates from my area, Whyndham City, and we know, and they will agree with me as they speak, that, you know, our area has been neglected for few things. A lot of infrastructure has been needed in our area. A lot of road work is needed in our area. So yes, this money would be useful in very, very different space. Now, it's very hard when I talk about this to choose one project particularly. But as Raj just mentioned, I have in my policy, I'm just going back to my policies, I have raised a community police and council partnership program post-COVID-19, especially in the space of mental health, domestic violence, homelessness, and jobs. These are few things which we need to address very thoroughly, because people who are going through these challenges are not coming out. So we will have to reach to these people. We'll have to educate our community. We'll have to engage our community. So this fund will be really helpful, and especially this post-COVID-19, where each and every family, even all of us sitting here, have been impacted in some or the other way. And I think some educative programs and where there is a joint partnership, I think can create a platform and create an ease for people going through these challenges. I mean, there are not many national helplines for suicides, for mental health, for homelessness. But if something is local, then people will get connected easily. And I think issues can be resolved. And this particularly health-related topics can be discussed under this platform. So yeah, but then again, I say there are various other topics which I like to include in this 10 million. But yes, for this to start with, yes, this is something very important I feel we need to do.
All right, thank you very much, Kapil. What about you, Dalibor? You have anything out of the box, or you're gonna something similar to what the other guy said? Please lay out the plan and please tell us why you would do it.
Well, basically, it's like Solange and I had the exact same person that we've been working with, because I was going to say almost exactly the same as she said. So, you know, we might as well just amalgamate into one, one candidate and just win this. But look, I'm a very, very, as I say, you know, I always go back to where do you want to be? Like, what is our end goal? And our end goal, I always sort of say, if we are going to go for that second city goal, what is it that we need to do? Let's just look at a couple of things. One is, you know, people don't feel safe. And two is obviously, we want as much investment into our city as we possibly can at the moment and into the future, because that will get people working and it'll get people supportive, like able to support their families post-COVID and all that sort of stuff. So my idea, if there was these hypothetical $10 million that were to be invested, and we had the freedom at the same time to be able to make some changes in central Dandenong in particular, would be to perhaps create an area very similar to some of the other areas, whether that's Knox, whether that's a couple of other areas where you've got like an entertainment area where you've got restaurants, you've got movies, you've got X, Y, and Z, where people can come together, and it can be an attraction area from all different areas, right? From all surrounding sort of suburbs, where people come to us. And then we can generate through that, generate jobs for people. People can support themselves. They don't have to go to the city, by just, let's say, hypothetically, people have, $30, $40 an hour, $20 an hour, whatever the case might be. If you have to go to the city, that's money that you have to spend on transport. It's money that you have to spend on parking. A lot of these things we could be having if our area was just a little bit, a bit safer, better looking. It's already accessible. We've got so many things here that we're not necessarily taking advantage of, so to say. And it's really just making a program or funneling that money to be able to create that area, one, safer and have more access for people to invest there, so that we have something that perhaps a lot of other councils have, or a lot of other areas have, nice restaurants, be able to get out at night, be able to go for a coffee, feel safe while doing it. And then that's basically how you bring that community feel back as well. I mean, it's not necessarily one project, because it's really hard for me to actually say, let's build a new Oasis swimming pool or something like that, because that's already been sort of, in the process of, being funded and so forth, like similar to what Solange was saying before. But it's vital for us to be a second city, to have a space where people can actually come and amalgamate and spend time together. We don't have that at the moment.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much, Dalibor. So to you, Tully, now, what about you? What would you do with this $10 million?
Look, I'd love to be able to say I'd build a piece of infrastructure. In my campaign plan, I've called for a new pool, and I've called for some critical road upgrades and some other maintenance. But right now, we need to focus on the COVID-19 recovery. We're winning the fight against COVID, but we need to win the recovery. And, Whyndham, again, we're the fastest growing area in Victoria. And part of my comprehensive COVID-19 recovery plan is a comprehensive approach to real job creation. And that's what I'd spend the money on. We need a real industry attraction strategy in Whyndham, and we need to get Whyndham working again. We can't just keep relying on people commuting out of Whyndham. To make a truly livable city, Whyndham needs to be a place to live, to work, and to raise a family. And a big part of that is having high quality local jobs, not short and medium term project roles, not construction jobs that we talk about when we're building projects, but ongoing, long-term, sustainable jobs and future jobs. Whyndham's strategically located between the state's two major airports. We've got a heavy rail connection. Our road connections are getting better. We're the home to three of Victoria's major universities. The University of Melbourne, RMIT, all have campuses locally. We can pivot off that to create a real industry hub in Whyndham, and that's what I'd look to spend the money on. A project that gets Whyndham working again, gets us through COVID-19 and creates jobs for the future.
Okay, thank you very much, Tully. So finally to you, Jasmine, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, 10 million is a lot of money. I feel like spending on one project, I really want to split into 5 different projects. But if
that's okay, yes.
You sure I can split into 5 different projects?
Yeah, I mean, think of it as one big project, then I guess the viewers would understand.
Sure. If I do have to make it one project, because 10 million is a lot of money, it's not little. If I do have to make one project, I try to combine different things together, I will run a COVID recovery hub. So the place probably doesn't need to have a lot of, not too expensive. It's just a hub where all these people can, after COVID, they can come together, can communicate, because we've have not much face-to-face contact for 6 months, more than 6 months. We all yearn that sort of connection with people, and I met one of friends yesterday, not friend, well, a friend, now friend, one of the people who's supporting me, yeah, so during my campaign, and he lost his job after 17 years. It's heartbroken to hear this. So I just feel like, look, it is everywhere. People are like really get hit so hard. So I just feel like I would like to provide a space for people to come together where maybe, because now take the thing about how can I get back to the workforce. So I would like to encourage probably starting a business themselves, so like entrepreneurship. So people can pick up some hobby, maybe make this hobby into a business eventually, just stepping stone before they can get back to work again. So people are keen to get connected with people and also like get connected with people with similar experience where they can encourage each other, come together, and also to, well, for some cultural group, they come together to celebrate. Yeah, we actually back again. We can celebrate. We can actually share our experience together. We can like do some dancing, singing. Like we survived. We didn't die during COVID. So like it's a space that I want to have for people to come together. So how to come to this hub itself? Because I can just spend a couple of minutes, 2-3 million, maybe just make like some walk path, bicycle path, because Whyndham is like transport is huge here. We can't get to places within 15 minutes in the morning. We had to spend, like, for me to go to work, it take me 1 hour sometimes in the peak time. So make some bicycle paths where kids can go to those hubs themselves, maybe meet their friends. Workers, they can actually, well, just like adults, we can also cycle. So just connecting Whyndham together, major parts like town center to the hub and train station to the hub. So it make it easier. Something safe with the separated bike path with the car, away from the car. So people feel like they can easily just go out and meet friends, meet people. And that's what I think. In terms of, other than that, we can run programs, business programs, luncheons and like dinners, like for the people who, well, for different kind, business events. So for people come together and share where they're at, what space they're at, and how can they connect together, and maybe they can introduce each other some job in, like, job opportunity that they know about, not just for people who lost a job, but for people who actually can provide job, can come together as well to see employment. So it's some sort of COVID recovery hub, plus cultural hub, and then connecting with bike paths for people to come together. 10 million, I think that's doable. If not doable, I also could connection. We can ask state or federal government to support some more money to support
Certainly, yeah. Thank you for that, Jasmine. So that concludes round 2. Thank you very much, guys. That was quite interesting. I have to say, this has been the most interesting comments I've got. I've done 2 other segments before. You guys had a lot of creative ideas. So thank you. I think the main reason why I sort of laid out the question was so that the viewers would understand when you get elected, you know, what are the options or what your vision is like. So, you know, that sort of sees or foresees what you would then do in future. Because this is a hypothetical scenario and we don't know, you'll get it, maybe not, but I thought that will lay out, you know, a better picture for someone who's listening to you. So thank you very much for that. So we'll now start round 3. So round 3 is more for you to express yourself, like to say your qualification. Now this can be educational, your experience, your professional qualification. Lay that out for the viewers because they would then have a better overview of where you're coming at. And also maybe tell us, in your personal opinion, why you think that you are the best choice compared to someone else in your city council. Why you'd say you're the man for the job compared to someone else. So or woman, sorry. So I'd start with Maria. Can you please give your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure, I will. So just to sum up, I think I'll put that sort of the main thoughts first, and then I will elaborate.
Yeah.
So the main thing why I believe that I deserve the Mount Waverley residents' votes is because I feel that I understand people and their needs. I've got a good understanding of life stages from the very young to the very, very old. Mm-hmm. I'm also a very creative problem solver. And I have solved a lot of things in my work whether paid or voluntary, I've always been able to find creative solutions to problems. And the other thing is I collaborate and I listen. So, and I do research well, and I try and look at problems from lots of different angles, and not to jump at the first solution that people might propose, you know, because, and the other thing is because I feel that it's linked to my ability to listen to people well in the local areas, because I feel that a lot of the locals are frustrated by the lack of listening by the councillors. And the councillors in our area also, some of them don't live in the ward. And so I feel there's a great deal of frustration by the locals that they are not being listened to. And so I've been living in the ward for 21 years, and I have been in the community, and I understand what it's like. That, you know, everyone's views are important and they should be listened to. So just to elaborate a little bit about my background, I have been working whether in paid or voluntary capacity in the community for the last 3 decades in a variety of roles. And I have been caring and serving people where their needs in the social, emotional, and spiritual needs for most of that time. And I have been able to come alongside, you know, toddlers, teens, parents, grandparents, the whole range of age spectrum. Look, I have been a pastor. I've also been a stay-at-home mum, and, you know, where kids have been a priority. And I've also been a career person where work was the most important thing for me. These days, it's all about juggling the family and my passions and what I want to get involved in. I've also worked in mainly music. I've also volunteered in leading playgroups. I've volunteered on PFA, in kinders and schools for many, many years. I've been a marketing coordinator, and I've also been a production coordinator. And I also know the nitty-gritty of what it's like to be on staff in a high school girls' boarding house as well. So I also have a wide variety of interests. I love the arts, I love theatre and museums, photography, nature, and I'm also an animal lover. And I think that helps me connect with a wide range of people, and people, I feel that they can relate to me as well. And also, I came to Australia 35 years ago as an international student from Malaysia. And as such, I understand the migrant journey and the challenges as well as aspirations. And because I have lived in Australia for 35 years, I get it that we are proud to call Australia home. And I understand, you know, I fully appreciate the values that we hold very dear, like our freedoms and our hopes for our futures. And also at 53, I feel that I'm at the stage of my life where I have built up a wealth of life experiences that I can give back to the community. I'm undergirded by a sound education. I've got an MA, a Grad Dip, a Bachelor of Arts, and I'm actually currently studying another qualification in counselling. And I feel that with all these qualifications, I can give back to the people of Monash and serve them well. I love getting out in the community and connecting with them, and I'm approachable. And I also intend to take the oath of office very, very seriously. And that relates to its impartiality and to act with integrity and to not improperly seek to confer an advantage or disadvantage on any person. And I think in the past, we've seen, you know, there's been a bit of dissatisfaction in that area by our local people in Monash. And my approach is to be collaborative, to listen to what the residents want and not to run roughshod over them and their wishes. If there's any projects or things that come up, I intend to collaborate with my constituents and to make sure that their views are heard, their views are represented. And that's what I'm there for, to represent them well. And my website, if you want to have a check out of me, so just don't take what I have said for granted, you know, like it's just me saying it, because I've got 12 other endorsements on my website from community leaders and local residents that you can check out. And my website is mariago4monash.org. So that's mariago4monash.org. And you can read a bit more about me and also the 12 endorsements that I've got on it. So thank you for the opportunity to share about myself.
No problem. Thank you very much, Maria. Now, I'd like to turn my attention to Solange. What about you? Why do you think you're perhaps the best person for this job, in your opinion? And please lay out your qualifications and experiences for us as well.
Look, it's an interesting question. I think we all think we're the best person, or else we wouldn't go through. Campaigning's hard. Let's not joke around. It's time consuming, and it deserves the work to get to that role. I think it's a very deserving role. So yeah, I mean, my qualifications, I've got a background in humanities. I work with job services. I've worked with people in disadvantage before, whether it was mental health, domestic violence, ex-offenders. I also worked in the public service for 6 years. I've also been a business owner. And going back to what Maria was just saying, I've mentored migrants to get work here in Australia, and I've mentored startups to go through the commercialization process as they're going through, building up and growing. So I think all of those elements, I consider myself, when people ask me, they're like, what's your strength? Who are you? I'm like, really, I'm a connector. And I think that impartiality of being a connector is really important. So I don't really think of matching things together for my own benefit, but I'm like, oh, did you think of this idea, or have you ever considered this? So I think because of that innate ability to just have a conversation, listen to someone's situation, what they're going through, what they need, their aspirations, I am able to connect them with opportunities. So I think that that's a very important skill to have as a counsellor, because it's about matching different things. There's so many varieties in terms of, like, there's diverse needs in any area. Our area is one of the most culturally diverse areas in the whole country. So you can imagine that the needs are very broad as well. So I think that's where just having that impartial approach to being able to connect things and solve problems is really important. I'm also a board member for a not-for-profit, and I'm on multiple committees regarding community advancement. So I think those particular roles have been really wonderful in terms of setting up my understanding and appreciation for governance. I did a master's in business that I finished last year. I did an MBA with the Monash Business School, and that really just elevated my respect for governance and the need for governance in these kinds of positions. I think, like everyone said before, there has been quite a disconnect in terms of the governance, in terms of people being transparent for the jobs that they're doing, and really making sure that at this local government level, it's community focused. So I am community minded, I am a connector, and I think that's what makes me the point of difference. My campaign is based around access, fairness, and progress. And that's because I've been able to see those things live out, and I've seen what it's done when those things aren't achieved for people. And, I want to empower people. I want to collaborate. I want to work with different groups of people, and including, like, my fellow candidates, Dalibor and I, we talk really often, which is fantastic, because, our heart's in the right place. We want to help, and there's a lot of help that's needed in our particular ward. I'm going to be really honest, I don't live in the Cleeland ward. That's the ward I'm running in the city of Greater Dandenong. The reason I chose that ward was because I felt that it was the ward that aligned most to my background and my skill set. My particular area doesn't have as many socioeconomic issues as the Cleeland ward does. So I see where need is, and I try to be part of resolving that need. So yeah, if you want to find out more about me, I've been more heavily active campaigning on social media. I'm not too big of a print person because I am a little bit of a tree hugger. So please jump on my Facebook. So it's facebook.com/Solange for Cleeland to find out more about me and my platform. Look, regardless of the result, I'm just happy to be going through this process because it's been wonderful. It's been a very steep learning curve, but I think that it should be that way because it's a very deserving role. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Solange, for that information. What about you, Kapil? Why do you think you're the best person for this job? And please do lay out your qualifications, your experience, so that the audience would have a better view.
Sure. Yeah. Firstly, it's a great question, and in my area, residents are frustrated with lack of listening. Residents are frustrated because there is a lack of teamwork. Residents are frustrated because there is no engagement. And I think these are the three important skills: community engagement, teamwork, and a good listener. I believe could be a good counselor, because unless you are not engaging community, I don't think so you can resolve community issues, because you are the first point representative of community. And these skills, what I just mentioned, I have demonstrated the skills through my various leadership roles in community, in work as well. Various community projects on different platforms, whether it be health, sports, whether it be advocacy activities. I have shown the skills and I have proved that I have the skills. And this is the reason I feel I can be a good counselor. Also, teamwork is very important, because regardless of your political views, regardless of any other view, your personal views, when you are sitting in the board of council, 11, 12, 15 council, in my Whyndham City Council, 11 councillors, when you're talking about community and decision making, I think if there is no teamwork between these 11 people, how are you going to resolve the issues of the residents? So this is very important, I feel. And I have not I honestly believe that there is lack of teamwork in current council. And I've been watching their meetings, I'm watching their comments, and I'm watching their ideas. But then unless you don't come together, how are you going to resolve problem? And COVID-19 has taught us this, that unless communities are not engaged. And I just mentioned before in the question, when you asked about $10 million, I said um, about coming together and using that $10 million on health, like whether it be mental health, whether it be issues related to domestic violence or issues related to homelessness. Why this is important? Because this kind of engagement or this kind of money will help growth of health in the area, but at the same time you'll bring communities together. Again, as Solange said, my council as well, like Dandenong, my council, Wyndham City Council, I'm privileged to be living in this council, because it is a multicultural council. People from various backgrounds, various countries have made a beautiful council their home. And it's amazing to be living in this area and meeting people from different, various, diverse backgrounds. So yes, unless there is no engagement, I feel we cannot achieve what we want to achieve. Also, I am from a project management background, so I have done various certification in project management, and I believe that when you start a project, there has to be a deadline to a project. There has to be a project timeline, and there needs to be ownership of that project, which we are lacking in a council. Many roadworks, if you go into a beautiful city, many roadworks are happening, many infrastructure jobs are being done, but we don't know when this project will be completed. There is no deadline. People are frustrated, residents are frustrated. They want to understand that when these projects will be completed. As Jasmine just mentioned before, it can take 1 hour to reach to work, which could have been 15, 20 minutes. So these are very important things which I feel I can talk about, I can debate about, and I can openly communicate with the residents. About my qualification, I have done PG diploma in business management from UK. I have also completed Masters of Professional Accounting and Masters of Commerce from Australia. And achievement-wise, as I said, these are the values which I've inherited, and I have been in community for many years, and I have achieved lots. I have learned lots, as well as I was nominated for the Australian of the Year. Obviously, I do not make to the final stage, but yes, being nomination itself is a great platform for me and acknowledgement of what I've been doing. Also, I've been awarded Meritorious Service Award by Victorian government for my community work. So these are a few things which I have, the skills which I referred to about teamwork, engagement, and this is what I want to bring along with me, and that's why I feel I can be a good counselor. And also listening to Tully and Jasmine, who are from my area, I can see what issues they have raised is similar what we all are talking about. And I think when we come as a team in council, fortunately we three are in there, I can straight away see that we can work as a team because our goal is same at the end of the day. So this is what I feel is very important, and I will bring along with me the skills. Now, if people want to know more about me and residents want to know more about me, I have my own website, and it's www.kapilthakkar.com. All my work has been highlighted there. My projects have been highlighted there, and my vision has been highlighted. So it's all about let's do it together. and let's do it for our communities.
Thank you very much, Kapil. So now I'd like to turn to Dalibor. So what do you think your point of difference, or to put it another way, why do you think you're the best person for the job? And please do lay out your qualifications and experiences as well.
Sure, thank you very much for that. Look, I think everyone, absolutely everyone, is going to bring something unique. And I don't think that there is a, the best person out there. It's just, I do believe in regular change, because if you have the same state of mind, you can't solve the same issues with the state of mind that got you there in the first place, if that makes sense. So you need fresh ideas and you need that turnover. So in regards to sort of the candidates that are there at the moment, honestly, there's a couple of candidates that are running against me that are absolutely fantastic. And one of them is here tonight, Solange, obviously. So look, a couple of things. I don't like to firstly brag about the things that I've done, because not everyone had the same opportunity that I had. And one day when I'm not here anymore and someone else takes over that place, it really, what's more important than the qualifications themselves is for your heart to be in the right place, and to have that sort of genuine desire to be able to fix the area. But since we are here to brag, we might as well do this. So I've basically, for the past 10 years, I've committed myself to a company that its sole purpose was to eliminate cervical cancer with women. So that was by far one of my probably, I would say, biggest achievements, was being with a company for that long, and contributing as much as we all had. We're all, as it was explained to us, we're all a cog in the wheel, and without one person, the thing just sort of falls over. So I'm really, really happy that I was able to contribute to that. And we've gone, as a company and sort of throughout the Australia and the world, I think, it's done fantastic. Secondly, I've got a bachelor's in IT, IT security, and the learnings that I bring from that is going to be more about process and sort of driven development or solving solutions. So I like to sort of have that, like always sort of say, I like to have the end in mind, where we are, and then there's just a bunch of work that needs to happen in the middle. It's just sort of what's been ingrained with me, in me in the last probably 15 or so years. So I suppose from qualifications to all sorts of things, I was involved in youth programs, more so when I was a little bit younger than I am now. I was a mediator for the Department of Justice. I worked for a number of different government departments, including a council. I've also done a couple of sort of pieces of work for the Dandenong Council that had basically a group of people that would provide advice on, basically what to do in the particular area. That was a little while ago, but that was really, really beneficial, and I saw the benefits in that, and it's something that I'd probably like to reignite if I was to be elected. A couple of other bits and pieces, I suppose. When we think about, sort of, and I always say, look at the vision that the person has, and sort of base it on that. And my vision has always been, and I've never shied away from it, is to really sort of double down on being the second city. Or, I know it's sort of like, you can call it whatever you like, but it's just basically about making sure that everyone can work here, or that wants to work here has the ability to do that. You can get schooled here. You can basically find happiness in the place that you live in, and that's effectively sort of what I stand for. But more so, you've got, as a counsellor, you've got certain skills that get the job done, but there's, I think, a little bit more on top of that, and Solange actually hit the nail on the head there. It's connecting different people together. In my case, what I'd probably like to do a lot more of that hasn't been done so far is connecting a lot of sort of larger businesses, working with, let's say, I've actually just had an interview with Table Tennis Association the other day, and they had massive plans to hold national and international tournaments in Dandenong if we had a place to do it in, and we do. So those are the type of things, and those are the type of people that I'd like to connect with and enable them to be able to perhaps through their own connections bring this, sort of this wealth into Dandenong. And that's what it's about. It's really just about connecting with different people, because you don't know who you're going to meet, and you don't know who's going to be, how you're going to exchange that value between you and that other person. And that's effectively where I think the council, apart from making some very sensible decisions and making decisions that are good for obviously for everyone that lives in that ward, and our ward is does need a lot of work, and it has been neglected for some time now, but it is also about bringing all of these different communities and all of these different people together and saying, how can you actually benefit out of that? We've got a lot of multiculturalism, but how do we create value out of that? At the moment, it's a little bit segregated. There's people here, there, they're all in their little bubbles, but how do we burst those bubbles so that we get really good value out of these individuals and these connections, so that we build our city in a way more livable city than it is at the moment. And if you want to contact me, just like a few other people, I am predominantly on social media and Facebook, so facebook.com/Dalibor Saula, and I've got a website as well, daliborsaula.com. And that, in summary, would be sort of why someone would perhaps vote for me over someone else. I have to say that there's some really, really great minds that are running this year, so I'm very excited about that.
Thank you very much, Dalibor. So now I'd like to turn to Tully. What about you? Why do you think someone should vote for you compared to anyone else in your council?
Yeah, look, well, I think this election, it's all about our future. We live in the fastest growing area in Victoria, and I think for too long Wyndham's been taken for granted, and I'm running to change that. So my partner Sarah and I moved to Wyndham with our adopted dog Lara, and we moved there to make it our home and to start our family. And it's for those reasons that I'm running for council, to keep Wyndham the very best place to live, to work and raise a family. COVID-19 has impacted us all, and we need a strong COVID recovery plan. And for me, a comprehensive strategy begins with rate relief now, and that extends to our residences and our businesses. Our 17,000 small and medium businesses are absolutely relying on us to get this right. We can't afford to mess this up, and we need a comprehensive COVID-19 recovery plan. I do think that strong representation in Wyndham starts on the ground, and that's why in my campaign I've called for council meetings to not just be held in town hall. I'll be moving council meetings around the area so that council can actually get out into those communities. I'll be making sure that at each one of those council meetings, the first couple of hours will be dedicated to local community groups and community members being able to come and present to the entire council about the issues impacting them and their families, and it's a good way to engage directly with council as a whole. I've also committed as a councillor, I'll hold regular community meetings myself to enable community for me to be in touch with the issues that are impacting us all. I also will be available, obviously, to talk to residents where I can. I have put together a very strong plan for Wyndham, and on top of the COVID-19 recovery plan, I'll be opposing unsustainable development, and I'll be getting on with building the infrastructure we need, and I'll be looking at a strategy to create real jobs in Wyndham for the future. Wyndham needs to be more than just houses. We can't sustain the growth, and that's why I will be opposing unsustainable development, starting with the 414 hectare site in Aviator Fields. I plan to oppose that. The state government has a plan to put even more housing there. We're not ready. We don't have the infrastructure required, and I'll be absolutely opposing that. I've got a strong infrastructure plan to hit the ground running. I don't plan to waste a moment if elected, and that's going to start with getting the Truganina Community Centre fully funded and built, with building a new aquatic centre on the vacant land opposite the Phoenix Hotel. I'm going to start with fixing and upgrading our roads, and that's got to start with the Snides Road intersection. I also have a plan for strong investment in parks and our recreational spaces. I spent a number of years as the head of public affairs at Parks Victoria, the state's land management agency, responsible for over 26% of the state's land mass. I know what it takes to manage our parks and environmental areas. I know what it takes to manage our fun and our play assets. and I intend to get on with doing exactly that. I'll hold developers to account. For too long in Wyndham, we're seeing the growth and we're not seeing commitments come through. We're seeing shopping centres promised that aren't delivered. We're seeing parks committed that aren't being built. And for too long, councils let these developers get off scot-free. I'll be using a big stick to hold these developers to account. We need to strengthen these arrangements, and we need to get the best deal for our community. I think now more than ever, we need a representative who'll stand up for what's right. And that's why I'm running for council. Before I started my own business, I headed corporate affairs for top 10 ASX businesses. The last company I worked for was for manager of corporate affairs for the Telstra Corporation nationally. I've then gone on to found my own business here in Wyndham and consulting in this space. I spend every minute of every day in my commercial life negotiating a fair deal with governments, and that's exactly what I intend to do for Wyndham. We're facing serious challenges in Wyndham. We're the fastest growing area in the state. We can't afford to get this wrong. We need serious people sitting at the table to make these decisions, and that's what I bring to council. I think that, as Dabo said, in my area, we've got some fantastic candidates running. We've got some fantastic community candidates running, and some great volunteering efforts and a whole range of things. But we need leaders sitting around our council table. For too long, Harrison Ward has been the forgotten area of Wyndham, and we need people who will get our fair deal, and then people who work collectively across council to bring a fair deal for Wyndham as a whole. So, I think that's why I'll be encouraging people to vote for me at this election, and why I think I'm the right candidate. But finally, commitments made, commitments kept. On my website, tullysmith.com, you'll find all the links to my social media sites, but you'll also find my commitment tracker. Every commitment I've made at this campaign, I've got listed on my site, and I'll be using that website to hold myself to account, and a place where the community can come and visit and get an update on those commitments, how they're progressing and how they're tracking, and I'll report back on each and every one of the commitments I've made at this election. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about my platform, but I would encourage you to visit my website to find out more, tullysmith.com. There's also a contact form there if you need to get in touch.
Thank you very much, Tully. So finally to you, Jasmine. So why do you think someone should vote for you rather than someone else?
Okay, we'll start with, I'm actually a people's person. I'm a people's person. I'm a teacher. I listen well, and I understand people. I understand people's needs. So it's very important. A counsellor actually listens, not just talk all the time. And yeah, second, I'm a woman, but I'm very special. I'm a woman with STEM skill, which is like science, technology, engineering, and maths background. So like I can relate to women because I'm a woman. I can relate to men and women. Like I actually have a huge range of hobbies. You talk to me about anything, about computing, about art, about music, about Shakespeare. So even though I'm from Malaysia originally, I love these sort of things. So you can talk to me about robots. You can talk to me about Einstein, general relativity. I teach those things in my school. So you can talk to me about anything, politics, all the way to photography, computing, anything. I am interested. If I don't know much, I learn. So I love to talk to people and get to know people and get to know what they're interested in. And I learn every day. So I have a huge range of hobby. I connect with people really well. I make friends with little girls and boys, all the way teenagers and relate to adults, all the way to community groups that I'm actually involved heavily with as seniors. And they said to me, it's amazing how they relate to me. Well, they consider me young. And so it's amazing how we relate together at such age. The oldest is probably 77 years old in my community. So like, I just love talking to people and learn from the experience. And I'm an Asian from Malaysia. I'm a third generation. My grandparents from China. And then I migrated here. I married a local Australian. Local Australian. So this sort of mixture is very interesting because it's a very multicultural, is a good representation of Whyndham. And I understand firsthand the cultural differences. I think it's very strong in that sense that I actually really can understand people well, and can bridge the two cultures. I often can see from this perspective and from that perspective, and I understand and tell people what is going on here. So that's the first thing. The second point is I'm very hardworking, hardworking and diligent, hardworking person. So I am a school teacher. I teach VCE subjects, and I have a track record of my VCE subject I taught. So I believe with my dedication and hard work, I can bring this whole system into the state on the council level, where I can actually, I have a capacity to actually, I can ensure that capacity as a councillor. And yeah, I will do my job well. That's what I think. And also, it is also because I prove it. In the past 4 years, well, not in the past, I committed myself to completing my PhD in electrical engineering in the UK at Liverpool University. For 4 years, I didn't quit. It's difficult, it's stressful, it's hard. And I completed it, finished a thesis, and I graduated. So council 4 years, I can do it as well. I can commit with high standard for a long period of time, 4 years. And if you don't trust me, you elect me and you will know I will make it well in 4 years. And about my vision and stuff, right? Let me have a quick look. My vision for Whyndham is for my Harrison ward itself, because I'm a teacher, I really want to work on youth services, teenage issues, teenage education. I want to make a little space for teenage to actually prepare them for the future, because the world is changing. We're moving to a more secular economy. So it's like, say Airbnb coming, and then it's like all the hotels can strike. And then like Uber taxi, for example, all the taxi company in problem. So we want to prepare our teenager for the future, the change of how things have changed now. And people lost job because of the computers, for example. I want to actually make that space, prepare our teenager to a future challenge, prepare them for that challenge. And also teenage with issues. A lot of teenagers are unemployed. So we want to have provide a space for them to learn, and then they can have confidence. They felt like, look, I don't have to rely on the government to provide me support, and I can stand on my own feet. That's something I want to encourage in our teenage, that sort of youth area. And also, in terms of recreational, I really wanted to advocate for Whyndham. Just Tully mentioned about the fair for Harrison ward, right? Equity. I think we need a space for indoor stadium and swimming pool. We need that. We don't have to drive all the way far away to Waverley or to Altona for that sort of things. I even have friends who drive all the way to Albert Park to do exercise. This is crazy. Return is 1 hour plus the traffic hours too. So I think there is a need for Whyndham, for Harrison ward to have these sort of facilities. And then, yeah, other things is probably similar to other candidates as well. So upgrade. Oh, I want to mention about upgrade of Waverley Hospital. I know we're going to have a community hospital, but I sincerely think that we need an upgrade of services with health, with seniors. Babies born like 13 babies each day. So we need to provide that sort of thing. And also we can't always try to catch up. We need to plan ahead, not just for the next 4 years, but the next 10 years, 20 years, long-term plan, so that we actually have that continuity, not like each time the 11 councillors come on board, and then the next 4, they scrap everything the previous one does. We need to actually make it continuous. And also, I really wanted to also make a big focus on the environmental, that sort of aspects where, yeah, we can council make regulations, but new houses, maybe encourage them to put in solar panels and all this. And then like we can make packages and maybe better rates and get all these purchase buyers together. They get better deals. And then because electricity is so expensive, now we pay for our gas bill. We don't pay to the people here anymore. We pay the people who owns our company overseas. It doesn't make sense to me. We want something local. We want to boost our own businesses around locally. So that's something I really passionate about. And of course, advocate for transport, but more buses and also more schools and better schools as well. I want to make Whyndham a city of education. That's my passion, long-term passion, not just 4 years. And finally, if you want to know me more, you can definitely ring me out 0488332837, or you can email me wyndhamjazz@gmail.com, or I have a website, facebook.com/vote1 is number 1, hey, Jasmine Hill, or wyndhamjazz@wordpress.com. That's yeah. Hopefully, you have questions again. Let me know. Yeah, keep in touch.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. So guys, that concludes our 3 questions. Thank you very much. We wish you all the very best. And I can honestly say you guys are very strong candidates. So I think the community is quite lucky to have you. So I wish you all the very best again. Thank you for your time once again. So I'll lay out the names again for our viewers. So we had Maria Go for Monash City Council today, and we had Solange Ardiles for City of Greater Dandenong. We have Kapil Thakkar for Wyndham City Council. And we had Dalibor Saula for City of Greater Dandenong. And we had Tully Smith for Wyndham City Council again. And finally, we had Jasmine Hill for Wyndham City Council. So guys, thank you very much again. Hopefully we can have another chat once you get elected and maybe discuss the future plans that you have towards the community. So I'd like to sign off from Melbourne One TV with our special segment, Talk with Melbourne One, and see you again on another day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Well done, guys.
Good luck,
That was really
everybody.
good.
Bye.
Good
Yeah,
night.
good luck.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks.
Yes,
Bye.
good luck.